Hello there, I'm Colonel Damders, and if we haven't met before, I make guides about all kinds of strategy games, including Stellaris. Today I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive to explore a list of the top 5 NPC empires you would not want to meet in a dark alley. So join me as we journey through the world of terrifying empires that you 100% do not want to run into. We start our journey here, in this very small empire with no real desire to expand. At first they may seem like a good neighbour or even a possible friend, but as soon as you realise who you're speaking to, things can take a rapid turn for the much worse. Yes, it's of course a fallen empire. Once mighty and ruling a large chunk of the galaxy, they're now a shadow of their former selves. But don't be fooled, they're still not to be trifled with. While they may have lost the majority of their territory and only be a tiny empire for now, they still maintain a fleet of incomprehensible size and are just looking for an excuse to use it. Eons of sitting inside their borders has left them hungry for battle to seek the glory they once held so dear, so the moment you get too close, they won't hesitate to come after you with the full force of their legendary military. Even if you play all your cards right and give them their space, there's still no guarantee they'll keep to themselves. Somewhere out there there's another, similar empire, and a rivalry of two once great empires just waiting for a reason to get right back to it. Should they decide the time has come and you're stuck in the middle, there's not a lot you'll be able to do, as your home becomes a battlefield for forces far beyond your capabilities. An awakened fallen empire is like a disturbed T-Rex. If you're the first thing it sees when it wakes up, it will not hesitate to tear you to pieces as a light snack. And unless you have equal or superior firepower, all you can do is run and pray that they don't find you. You can try your luck joining a side, but choose wisely, as the opposition will not hesitate to take you out while seeking their eternal conquest. Our campaign of Consternation next takes us to a single planet inhabited by some pretty adorable looking lizard folk. Standing only 25 centimeters tall, they give off no signs of danger, but do not be fooled. They are one of the nastiest empires you could ever hope to stumble across. Centuries of being underestimated and preyed upon has led them to take one of the most aggressively xenophobic stances you'll find in the entire galaxy. Add on their enthusiasm for military and fanatic purifier stance towards every other empire in the galaxy, and you have a threat far larger than their small stature might suggest. Once the PRIKKIKI-TI appear in your galaxy, seemingly at random, a countdown clock begins as they rapidly mobilise for mass expansion. First they'll just be a planet, but within months they'll own the system, several around it, and have a fleet that really doesn't make a lot of sense given their empire size, but nonetheless, it's a very substantial threat to anyone unfortunate enough to be in the immediate vicinity. Unless your empire has prepared for their arrival by maxing out their naval capacity, and then some, you'll be defenceless as they swarm your lands and destroy everything in their path. The one comfort is that they just want rid of all of the species, so you won't be shipped into bondage or put through much suffering other than the most efficient death they can manage as they continue their galactic conquest. Coming to the midpoint of our adventure of abhorrence through the galaxy's nastiest neighbours, we have an empire so alien that they're not even from our galaxy. This relatively small empire makes its home in the L cluster, a micro-galaxy just outside of our own that's only accessible through L gates. Once an empire gets too curious and opens one of these L gates, they'll wake up the Grey Tempest and unleash a very specific form of hell onto the galaxy. The Grey Tempest are insanely powerful, after having refined their fleets over the years to specialise in rapid planetary takeover without ever touching the surface. They will be incredibly difficult to take out, and if you find yourself unlucky enough to be on a planet that catches their eye, there's not much which can be done to save you. They will shell the surface from orbit until there is nothing left but rubble and fire, at which point they'll instantly cover the surface in nanites, making it completely uninhabitable to anything but themselves. See, the physical makeup of this empire is totally inorganic in nature, and everything you see is made up of nanites, tiny robots controlled by the main factory station. Think of them as a technological hive mind with all the coordination and resolve of a hive mind, but the calculating coldness of an AI. Now if the factory is destroyed, you'll cut the head off this beast and the body will cease to function, but living to see this factory will be another challenge within itself. It is deep in the heart of the L cluster, and every step of the way will be met with heavy resistance, making it almost impossible for a single empire to stand up to. Do yourself a favour, if you want to avoid a near certain doom, avoid L gates as much as possible, or at the very least run as fast as you can in the opposite direction if they're about to be opened. It may not save you, but it will buy you some time. The penultimate destination on our pilgrimage of panic is a planet like any other. This planet is home to an empire of the Knights of the Toxic God, and while making their home, they stumbled across a dimensional portal. Initial probes labelled this the Dimension of Suffering, as even coming into contact with anything on the other side leads to immense suffering in all who come close. Despite this, the Knights sent in one of the strongest in their ranks, who was able to resist the urge to end himself upon entering. Years later, after most have forgotten about this lone knight, they have returned from the portal, a dark and twisted version of themselves. Driven mad by this dimensional Legion of Pain, this knight now leads a force of similarly corrupted beings in a full-scale assault of the planet first, and then the entire galaxy. The only solace in this situation is that the stress of this demonic incursion entering our reality caused all portals to the Dimension of Suffering to close, still leaving this very significant force behind. But unlike the Great Tempest, even independent of whatever being has corrupted them, the demons are very capable of annihilating the home empire with combat expertise and power only available to ones so sadistic. Should you find yourself in their path, they will not only destroy you, but before they allow you to expire, they will inflict on you every suffering inflicted on themselves during their time in the Great Beyond. In the end, death will be a welcome consolation, but possibly the only fate more dreadful than that of a victim of this incursion is to be one of the perpetrators. So immense was their suffering that all their mind is capable of doing is recreating that same agony over and over again on all who cross their path. Coming now to our final stop on our trip of terror, and you can relax and feel free to roam about the cabin as the risk of death from this entry is relatively low. But then again, that is rather the point. The worst empires by far are those that you can create yourself, so why not join the list with the Eternal Corporation? A megacorp dead set on extracting as much value as possible out of every single pop it can get its hands on. They're avid slavers, though they'd word it as indentured servitude as you work off your debts. But with interest rates as high as they are, by the time you've cleared off 100 credits, 500 more have been added straight on top, leaving you no way out but to keep working. And don't worry, your overlords come with an extended lifespan and penchant for the stick over the carrot every single time, so you'll have no want for extra motivation. Of course, as with all organics, your life will eventually come to an end, but even that isn't enough to keep you out of a job. Once your time comes, you'll be shipped off to the posthumous employment centre, where you'll be brought back as a zombie-like creature. You work a lot slower in a simple role and you'll desire no sustenance, but rest assured, you'll be aware of everything as your body decays around your mind, working the whole time. Possibly the most terrifying part about this ruling class is their charm. Even while they're coercing you to sign your life and afterlife away, you can't help but fall under their charms. Don't be fooled, they are ruthless and feel no remorse for their actions, but just like the best psychopaths, they can reel you in without the slightest bit of force, and by the time you've noticed the noose tightening around your throat, it is far, far too late. And with that, we conclude our journey through the most terrifying empires you can meet on your travels through the galaxy. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Stellaris, and thank you to Paradox for letting me back onto your channel for a couple of videos. Next week, I'm going to be taking you through the very best civics to get the most out of your council. That's all from me, so for now, best of luck out there, and I'll see you next turn.